Hello, welcome back to Topper Machine. I'm Josh Topper, and today we're back out at the Dragline crane. As many of you know, paying jobs take priority over everything, and the shop with the paying jobs, that's where we're focused at. And these personal projects, the crane is a hobby of mine, along with my steam engine that I'm working on. We're working towards doing videos and doing cool stuff with that, the repairs, but I finally got a little lull and I need to get back on this because I need to get this thing, I want to have it rolling under its own power by winter so that I can just park it for winter and then get back into it in the spring and get everything going. So one of the things we found when we took the tracks off was this wheel was broken. So I looked over both of the wheels, that one and this one, after we found this, and I don't know how well you can see it in the video, but there's a crack there. That one's cracked all the way across. That one's cracked all the way across. They're all cracked. It looks like that one's not all the way across. That one sure looks like it's 100%, so it's barely hanging on. So we're gonna go ahead and get this off, get it all tore down, and then fix it. So I already looked this thing over and I ground off a spot here that it would look like it was gonna bind, but it looks like it'll just pull right off and we can bring it in the shop and disassemble. So let's see what happens. Oh yeah. There we go. I got her in the shop here, and one of the things I noticed right away was the bearings in there are shot. And more than likely those are brass, so I think we're gonna have to replace those with nylon, but we'll get it apart, see what we got to work with first. All right, so I just cleaned them up a little bit, and the shafts look great. Actually, they measure great too. They're not wore, which is absolutely surprising. But the bushing itself, let me get you straight on, you can see it's thinner here. So I think we're gonna have to drive those bushings out and make new ones out of nylon, which won't be a big deal, and I think I'll make 4 of them and I'll do the other side at the same time. So we'll get going on that, and then after that, then we'll do the repair to the wheel. And this shaft does come out, but I think it's a press fit or a shrink fit, I'm not sure, but I am not gonna even attempt to take it out just because I don't wanna have any issues, possible breaking anymore. And the shaft is just fine, so no point in taking it out. All right, so because of the odd shape, I had to make a little pusher and a stand to set it on that's hollow. And we should be able to start shoving that through, and with any luck, it'll go. Well, there it goes. Let's see if I can get it all the way out. That's going way easier than I thought it would, so I'm going to move over here to the arbor press and just try to, oh yeah, there we go. This is almost out. All right, well there's the wore out bushing, and I'm hoping you can see how crooked that thing is. And we're just going to make a new one out of this. This is nylon tubing. It's a good plastic. It's actually, I've been using this a lot with a lot of different customers the last several years to replace a lot of bronze bushings, and the wear characteristics have been better than the bronze. So that's what we're going to go ahead and use on this. And I'm not going to throw these away just because if I need to, at least I'll have, you know, this for a measurement or to throw it in the worst case situation if this doesn't work out. So, but I think for for this application, this Nylotron will be just right. So I got the Nylotron up here in the Lion lathe. We need to cut it 4 inches long, and we need to go 3 inch on the OD, and preferably about 5 thou over so it squeezes in nice and tight and won't spin on me. But then on the ID, we got a 2 7/16 shaft there. We need to actually go about 2 450, so oversized, because when we push it in and it squeezes down, it'll tighten up that ID a little more, and it'll still have enough give, enough movement for clearance, and should be okay. Now, if you remember in a video a while back, I wrecked my microphone because of a bird's nest like this. The nice thing about the Nylotron is it's a little gentler on the hands, but it's still very dangerous. So now we'll measure it. Just going to measure this all with the caliper because this is not precision in any way, shape, or form. And get her close. We got about 90 thousandths to go. We are close enough. We are 3 inch 7 thou by the caliper. Like I said, this will compress a little bit going in, so we'll just make it a little oversized, not a problem. I mean, we want it a little bit looser just so it fits that shaft nicely and rotates smoothly. Like about 55 thou to go, and we should be able to take that in one cut. That will work. So it'll be a little looser, which is exactly what we want for this application. That'll work just fine. I'm just going to give it a quick deburr here with the file on this end. This will be the end we push in, and then we'll use the cutoff tool to cut her off. And just a quick deburr with our deburring tool here. This stuff cuts so nice. This is just absolutely wonderful stuff to work with. And there you have it, bushing done. All right, let's see how it fits on the shaft. Very nice. A little bit of slop, not bad. Absolutely what we want, right there, perfect. Well, I'm happy with the outcome of this bushing. I'll go ahead and knock out 3 more of them right away, and then we'll be ready to at least reassemble the bearings, and then we'll get this into the weld shop and start getting it ready to weld. Okay, well, I'm back here at the arbor press. I got them all done. I'll go ahead and finish installing these, and then we'll get on to fixing the sprocket, or the wheel there. Perfect. Now, before anybody asks or says anything, hey moron, you forgot the grease hole. I didn't. Just take the grease zerk out and just drill a hole. Simple as that. And I'll put all new grease zerks on this machine just so we know we got good working zerks. All right, so I'm back here in the weld shop. I got her up on the preheat, post-heat table. And we don't even have the heat on yet because we got a lot of cleanup to do. But first thing we need to do is figure out what material this is. I really don't believe it's cast iron. I think it's cast steel. So let's just hit it and find out. Yes, it is cast steel. So perfect. This is going to weld up really nice. So I'll go ahead and I'm going to start deburring or grinding in everywhere I need to weld so we can build it up nice. All right, I got her up here all ground out where I found the cracks, and they were almost all cracked all the way through. It was a lot of lateral movement that was broke, so the side to side. And I already got the burn table lit here. You can see the flame there. And I'm gonna throw my carbon fiber blanket on top to hold that heat in. So this is a carbon fiber welding blanket. And I bought it just for this purpose. It helps hold the heat in. And then when we're all done welding it, we can kind of wrap it around to keep the heat in there and protect it, to slowly cool it. So let this thing warm up. Once it gets up to temperature, we'll start welding. All right, let's take a peek and see how she's coming on temperature. About 250 on the outer rim here, 200 on the center, 270 on the spokes. Got a little ways to go yet. I want to get up to 300 on the outer rim and at least 270, maybe not, maybe a little more on the center hub. All right, let's see where we're at. Yeah, we're at a good point there. Everything's, wow, very close to even, within about 15 degrees of each other, just right about 300 degrees. So that'll work. I'll weld one side, then the other. We'll cover it, let it normalize, come back, weld, weld, cover, and then we'll do that one side. We'll let it sit in the heat for 20 minutes, flip it over, and then do the other side. Usually about 10 minutes between welds, just to let it all normalize. So. Now the reason I'm doing this in steps and cool cycles and everything is we don't want to go all hell bent on it and do it all at once because of thermal expansion. So if I go into this, weld everything up, even though it's still at 300 degrees, it's still going to expand and then it's going to contract and break. So do a little at a time, let that heat dissipate, come back at it and work my way around it. That has been the best method I've had for doing this kind of repair. I've been doing this a lot of years and that actually works really well. So give it a little time on the heat, covered, dissipate out that weld heat, and then go at it again. All right, well, this is going really well. I'm gonna go ahead and finish welding this up, and then I'll show you guys the end result. All right, I just finished up all the welding. We're letting that cool a bit, well, on heat, but dissipate out that weld heat. And I got one last thing I'm gonna do before we put this on the heat and start knocking the heat back to let it start cooling off. But we're gonna go through and just needle scale the welds just to kind of peen them out. Do that with a needle scaler, it works really well. And I'm gonna just say, before I show you guys this weld, these are for strength, not for beauty. This was a kind of a tough job to do, but this is gonna hold. It's not the prettiest, but it's gonna hold. So as you can see, these came out really nice. This one's a little ugly. I had to do a couple passes just to widen it out, but I'm doing this all for strength. So otherwise they all look good. The other side looks just the same. So let's go ahead and peen these out with the needle scaler and then start cooling this thing off. Okay, so not only does that help stress relieve it, but it also shows me a couple spots I missed. So I'm gonna grab the welder, go back through these spots. Yeah, there's a crack right there I missed. So we'll get that touched up and then we'll get the cooling going. All right, now that all the welding's done, I'm gonna leave the blanket on it like this, but I'm gonna start turning the heat down. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it down about halfway, enough to maintain that 300, 350 degrees for about 2 hours. And then I'll come out every hour after that and turn it down just a little bit further, a little bit further. I want this to cool over the course of about 4 to 5 hours. So nice slow, but I wanna maintain that heat that's in it for a while just to kind of help normalize the whole thing. And then tomorrow we'll take a look at it and see how we did, see if we have any cracks. All right, well, it's the next morning and I let this thing simmer on heat for about 5 hours. Just turning the heat down every couple of hours, a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. Just brought the temperature down slowly from around 350 is where we started when I finally, got done welding. And it was a pretty consistent heat all the way through. And then I just backed it off slowly. And then finally, when I shut it off, then I tucked the blanket all the way around. So let's get this thing out and see what it looks like. Well, that looks pretty good, actually. All right, well, that looks really good, but is it? I'm gonna go ahead and grab the dye penetrant testing stuff, and we're gonna go over this thing and just see what we have. If we have any cracks, anything that shows up, and I honestly don't see anything, but that doesn't mean it's not there. So let's get that going and see what we got. All right, so the way a dye penetrant test works is you clean the part with a solvent, and then spray it with the dye, let it soak in, wipe up the excess solvent, and then spray it with the developer. And this is where you spray it with the developer, let it dry, and then you should be able to see cracks. And I've used this test quite a bit over the years. The problem is something like this is kind of difficult to see. But we'll see if we have any cracks. Let that dry and we'll see what we got. Okay, so when I say this is kind of hard to do on something like this, it's hard because you can't really see the way the weld is and the porosity of the steel. You get a lot of false, red. It should be more white, but you should see a definite line if there's a crack, and I don't see any cracks. So I'd call this fixed. Thank God, because I don't want to have to heat this thing up and weld it again. But yeah, this looks good. This will work. Perfect. Well, I'm glad that went well. Good. I can get this back on the crane, and we can keep going with the next repairs. Now, if Connor ever shows up for work, he's going to be making all new shafts for the track rollers, and then bushings for those as well. And with any luck, we'll be able to, in the next month or two, before the snow flies, get the tracks back on. That is my whole goal. So I'm going to try to get that done and get this thing back up and ready to move, so that next spring we can really start digging into things. Digging. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. If you have questions, comments, please leave them below, and I'll address them in a follow-up video. And please like, subscribe, share, stay with us. Lots of cool stuff coming. And until next time, get out in your shop and get it done right the first time.